By the way, lots of the shit in this video, screenshots included, could be fake. Text exchanges could be fake. It's impossible to mark anything as real. The Larsonian hole is a deep, eldritch horror of a hole. There are a lot of fake things out there, so, you know. The world has lost its strongest soldier. One who walked day and night against its corruption. A man by the name of Daniel Larson.
Bing, bong, bing, bong.
A man with nothing but a phone and a dream.
The only place that might be suitable for me is an asylum.
And it seems like the dream has finally come to an end. I made a video on Daniel Larson about 1.5 years ago, and I deleted it immediately because I was like, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have made this video. He commented immediately on the video about 50 times saying he was under attack, and I felt bad. I felt less like someone doing research and showing people something that I found interesting and more like someone who's taking advantage of someone who is extremely mentally unwell.
This message is for Joe Biden. I want to say I'm sorry for the...
But now he's the burden of the taxpayers because he's in prison. So, he won't see this. He won't see this video, and it's fine, and it's a cautionary tale, and quite frankly, it's just like Chris Chan at this point. It's a fucking lol. It's crazy. It's a lolcow. It's absolutely insane.
To get the full story on Chris Chan and the expanded CWC universe, you would need to catch up on the ongoing comprehensive history by Geno Samuel 2.1, which currently stands at 65 episodes, each approximately 40 minutes in length.
I'm gonna do my best to be honest with the information here and express to you guys my appreciation for the story of Daniel Larson, because it's been a long one and I've been there since the very beginning, even talking to the man himself on a few occasions. You're probably familiar with Daniel Larson in some form or another.
I'm currently under attack. I'm trying to take down the impersonators, and they planned a full-scale cyber attack on me. Anyways, I will try to give updates.
His chronicles have been available publicly for an extended period of time. As I mentioned, on TikTok, you've probably seen him scroll across your page talking about being under attack.
I just got notified that Rick Yorn at LBI Entertainment, who is the CEO, has called the head manager and the CEO of all Olive Gardens, and you're fired.
Or attacking someone, or just something f***ed up, screaming, something like that.
He said, give me a second. Okay? And you're threatening me, and I'm not gonna leave. Okay, and I literally said, I said, give me a second.
It used to be a lot more lighthearted, and it's really been a downward hill for the last year or so. It's not a silly little monkey. It's very popular amongst the Larsonian community to refer to the stories in his life and the timeline of events as arcs. So that's how we're going to be able to describe this. Even though it doesn't always exactly make sense or add up, that's how we're gonna be doing it. Got my monkey shirt. My grandmother got me this for Christmas. She thought I would love it, and guess what? I do, Grandma. All right, just like I love you. All right, press the like button on this video if you love my grandma, because I love her. From homelessness to his eventual final downfall, there is an insane amount to cover in the fall of Daniel Larson, because that's truly what this is. It's a fall. It's a cautionary tale. It's very sad, and I will leave some links to some homeless charities and crisis charities in the description down below. Specifically, the Denver Rescue Mission is one that I know reached out and tried to help him on multiple occasions, and it's just, you know, shit slips through the cracks. It's really, really, really tough. There's not a lot of infrastructure. Anyways, back to this funny, epic entertainment video. Daniel Larson, in his early years, was just a young, innocent boy with some problems who lived with his grandmother.
That's 14-year-old Danny, who came from an extremely neglectful home.
And he was taken care of at the Tennyson Center for Crisis-Affected Children. His grandmother became his guardian, and they moved from California to do it. She took care of Daniel. There's even this crazy video from 11 years ago that talks about the Tennyson Center, and you can see young Daniel Larson just kind of, you know, doing his own thing.
Do they bring some challenges? Absolutely they do. But, you know, they've got the opportunity to, number one, be safe. Number two, receive some attention that they've, in some cases, never received. And number three, to get help and to be themselves and to really let their own personalities come forth.
So Daniel's grandmother took care of him in the very beginning, and she tried to lead him down the right path. She even guided him into his own dream of doing theater and acting. Beautiful, beautiful start here. Kind of reminds me of Finn Wolfhard a little bit back in the olden days. However, all of this came to an end when Nancy, Daniel's grandmother, passed away, as old people tend to do, in July 2019 from cancer. She left Daniel a trust fund, essentially, for him and a friend of theirs, a mutual friend of theirs, Bob Proctor. By the way, Bob is kind of actually Daniel's mentor. It's kind of like funny to say he's got a mentor or whatever, but this dude is a financial enabler of Daniel and helped him produce his music, paid for a lot of stuff. He's known him since he was a kid. Seems like a really good guy. Yeah, that's Bob, aka ass Bob. And Bob, keenly aware of Daniel's activity online, strange. He's like, Daniel, don't film me, stop filming me, Daniel. He gets harassed by the trolls. It's really bad. Let's leave Bob out of it. I don't want to talk about Bob too much. But Bob's deep in the story from like the very beginning to almost the end.
I met Bob, there was once a week, there was a class, I would call it, called Reading Buddy. And you would be paired up with what they call a reading buddy. And Bob was one of the people that was one of the options of people that I could choose from to be my reading buddy.
After Nancy passed away, Daniel went on to live in a group home, and this is when he started uploading videos to his YouTube channel, showing little parts of his life, skits, vlogs, things he would record in the moment, just enjoying himself. Eating ice cream, for example.
Hi people, I'm hanging out with my good roommate having ice cream. What?
Going on a walk with his friend.
When I am young and all my troubles.
Just his normal, happy, regular life.
You having trouble with the lighter?
I think the Flint has a pickle in it here.
Also, sad, because we know how it ends. Adorable, cute. The early days with Daniel Larson, it was before TikTok, but TikTok was right around the corner, and things would decline immediately because people started really latching on to Daniel, to be honest, like in a very unhealthy way. They started manipulating him and so on. Daniel Larson Fans, I think, was his very first TikTok account, and he just filmed his neighborhood in March of 2020. And then shortly after, in April of 2020, he's on Twitter. He tweets about his friend, Grace VanderWaal. Very important moment in the Larsonian history. Extremely important moment. Super important moment. You might recognize the name Grace VanderWaal. We'll get into that. And so began Daniel Larson's controversial tweeting and posting during the 2020 lockdowns, where he would post controversial things. He even said that he'd run for president, which is awesome.
Hello, this is Daniel Larson. I am planning on running for president in the future.
He gained a fucking ridiculous following in a very short period of time. He eventually reached 1 million views on TikTok, which is awesome. And as I mentioned earlier, people started to troll him slightly. It was innocent at first. It was a bit of light trolling, and it wasn't terrible. For example, they tricked him into thinking he was Zooming with Drake. That's right, Drake. We love Drake.
Okay, so hey. What's up? It's me, Drake. I was wondering if you wanted to do a collab with me.
Sure, we can look into that.
Yet another person Drake was supposed to be putting on, guys. Another person on the list of enemies of Drake who he started their careers of, I think. I'm not sure. But that is very funny, though. Gonna be honest, I thought that was hilarious when I first saw that. And thus begins the PDF file arc of Daniel Larson. The true, real decline began when Daniel leaked his own Pinterest account and later admitted that it indeed was his Pinterest account.
Yes, the Pinterest was mine. And yes, I actually followed all of those pictures and stuff of, like, children.
And he did, in fact, follow a lot of pin, whatever the you do on Pinterest, pin photos of kids. A lot of kids. Then he also clarified and stated in the past, he used to use these pictures to do unspeakable things to his own body, if that makes sense.
In the past, I used to use pictures of girls and to them.
And yeah, you can kind of imagine people are like, oh, well, this guy's, we can just troll the shit out of him now because he's a PDF file. He's a monster. He's an actual monster. And this is the true decline. This is where the story really picks up heat here. With his admission of guilt, Daniel continued on a path of zero return, zero chance of return. And by God, people did not let him forget his crimes. Holy shit. And by the way, deserved. In my opinion, absolutely deserved, regardless of any context. It's just kind of one of those things. How are you? It's such a complicated. He just shouldn't be on the internet, really, at the end of the day. That's the only way to justify or rationalize, because he had multiple admissions of accidental and also intentional moments, showing his photo gallery with quite literally illegal photos on it. And this leads into his disgusting obsession with two different child stars, Grace VanderWaal and Darcy Lynn, both youngsters from America's Got Talent. You've probably seen some videos. They're viral as shit on YouTube. Daniel Larson really loves America's Got Talent. With Grace VanderWaal, Daniel's obsession with her is truly disturbing, and it's been years long, so much so that she even knows of his existence and absolutely despises him, which is fair, right? Completely rational response to someone obsessing over you in this way. His deluded obsessions and just delusions in general have been fed into by trolls for a very long time.
Incoming voice call from +15.
You are a f***ing bitch, Grace. You are a f***ing liar.
Incoming
You are a
voice.
f***ing liar and you should go to f***ing hell.
But he continued to believe that he had a chance with her. He just likes posting a lot about Grace VanderWaal. I'm pretty sure in the video that I made last year, he even talked about Grace VanderWaal in the comments of that video, which was just really bizarre, very strange and bizarre. This went so far as Tina VanderWaal, Grace's actual mother, having to constantly get involved, stating that she wanted nothing to do with Daniel. I mean, he's quite literally obsessed over a young person in a very disturbing way. Daniel said, I will literally do anything to prove to the VanderWaals I am strong enough for things to work. The VanderWaals said, God, Daniel, do you think I'm watching your lives? Whoever just contacted you claiming to be me was not me. I have no idea who Ox even is. I don't want you to talk about Grace or our family anymore. I have only replied to you once when you DM'd me a couple of weeks ago. Then I told you to stop saying Grace's name, but clearly you refused to listen. Stop all of this. Everyone communicating with you are trolls trying to get you to do crazy things. Please stop. Daniel said, okay, I understand. I have an important question if you don't mind. They said, I do mind. Stop everything to do with our family, especially with my daughter. You are making me reply publicly so you can't censor what I'm actually saying to you. I've spoken to DDRC as well the Denver police and Denver FBI. Do you really want to continue this? Again, just stop. Your reality is not real. I understand. I just want to say I'm sorry and I can explain everything and help. Everything just got messed up because of my past friendships. I'm sorry, misunderstood. I fucked up, and I want to help in any way to show you who I really am. I really do have your entire family and your daughter in best interest. It hurts me to see this like this. I just really care, and I am a fighter and with no support, and I got confused. Very bad. Very, 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 absolutely very bad. And it just goes on. There's a lot more. A lot of these are just public comments on YouTube that are still available for anyone to see. I mean, they wanted him to stop. He did not. Daniel would not stop. Gosh. It went as far as a user contacting Grace VanderWaal on Instagram, asking if she knew who Daniel was, and she responded that she did, and she said this. He's the worst thing that ever happened to my career. Every time I search my name, I see pictures of that dirty P word. My posts get spammed with comments about that freak Daniel. I hate him and wish he would just stop talking about me. Maybe let's lay off, guys. Maybe let's lay off. Maybe I shouldn't put Grace VanderWaal's name in this video. Just kidding, I have to, because it's like history and stuff. It's important. It's freaking important. So yeah, he's not exactly trying to hide it. All this stuff's very public. Grace knows about it. Everybody knows about it. His trolls know about it. There's been plenty of stings to try to catch Daniel in the act. All of them were successful. He just blatantly talks about his sick perversions, and for some reason, that's just allowed. I don't really understand it. It's pretty crazy that it's gone on this long, but yeah, it's f***ed up. Very easy to get Daniel Larson to say really f***ed up stuff when he thinks he's talking to Grace. It's so disgusting. I don't want to show any of this stuff. It's disgusting and it's fucking awful. There's so much of it though. Like seriously, regardless, it's a tough situation. I know, terrible childhood, hurt people is what people say, but by God, better off in prison. What the f? Come on, fellas, come on. Daniel just contacts people who he thinks are Grace or someone trolling him as Grace and immediately makes things as sexual as possible. He's sick on the mind. His mind is sick. He's a man who's mentally disturbed. He's also self-aware that he is disturbed and is a PDF file.
I sent unsolicited pictures of myself naked, nude, to Grace. I also jacked off in bathrooms and parks.
I mean, there you go, fellas. All right, now, that in mind, let's keep going on, because this is a very, very, very important part. Truly unforgivable actions. It is unfortunate, but he's reached a point of no return. The end. The public eye is not sorry, nor should they be sorry. Chris Hansen even made a video telling Daniel Larson he'd be seeing him soon, which is probably just a cameo.
Chris Hansen here. Yep, I'm looking at the TikToker Daniel Larson. Daniel, I just wanted to let you know that I'll be meeting you soon, perhaps. And I've seen the toothbrush video and the Pinterest accounts. You could be in big trouble. You could be meeting me in a dark kitchen pretty soon, Mr. Daniel Larson.
It references a deep lore moment, the toothbrush incident, a deep cut for true Larsonians, in all honesty. This toothbrush video, I will explain it. It is a video in which Daniel films himself or Grace putting a toothbrush into his butt and then brushing his teeth with it. Very epic stuff. Chris Hansen, he's deep in the lore. What the f***? So, continuing past the PDF arc, which is just an overall arc. It's like a really important one because it's just from the very beginning until now. We enter the homelessness era. It is pretty much as long as the PDF arc, but it's definitely his most damaging arc for his own personal situation, his own mental health, physical health, etc. Homelessness is a massive issue, and Daniel Larson has basically been a public example of that for the last 2.5 years. By the way, the homeless arc ended on April 30th with charges brought by the FBI, which we will also get into. But the era lasted, like I said, 2.5 years, and during this time he would go in and out of homelessness. He would go to group homes.
I am not currently in housing. I'm in a flipping casino.
Be homeless, wander around random states, Colorado specifically. He sustained all sorts of injuries, trench foot.
Everything is rotten.
Always had the flu, just looked terrible. He's extremely paranoid. He even began a music career while homeless, which is ridiculous and awesome.
Moonlight in your eyes tells me it'll be okay.
And the music is non-ironically pretty slappy. It's good, dude. Song of the Summer 2023. You just don't get it. You some bitch. In the very early part of the homelessness arc, maybe just before it, Daniel was living in a group home with his caretaker Jonas and his wife, along with another resident named Gavin. During the time at this group home, he would fight and argue with Jonas and Gavin. He didn't like them very much at all. Daniel was eventually evicted because he would mess with them. He would purposefully leave on the stove, change times on clocks, leave the sinks on when he was home alone.
Jonas left that on. He's gonna burn down the house. Keep that running. Clock.
In fact, one of the most iconic Larsonian videos is the November 28th incident, the Bing Bong incident, in which Daniel believed that he was in a trance worshiping his caretaker Jonas.
Oh, hell, Jonas. Worship Jonas.
And shortly after, he went to his room, dancing back and forth, saying, Bing Bong.
Bing bong.
He said that repeatedly and then went off camera and threw up.
Bing bong.
Clips from this video went incredibly viral and brought in a lot of new viewers and a whole hell of a lot of trolls. Gave him a lot of paranoia and a lot of new attention, and this really f***ed things up for Daniel. I mean, it's a funny video, I guess, but wow. Another video that was released during this time at the group home called the mac and cheese incident.
I'm going to now ask my care provider if I could get macaroni and cheese, if that's all we can have in this house. This tastes like cow piss.
Is a video in which Daniel gets served mac and cheese and he says that it tastes horrible and notices little black specks.
And if you look, it's got like little things in it. I don't know what it is. I've never seen that.
goes to the fridge, sees there's no milk, and assumes that the caretaker either used honey mustard or spicy ranch, and he begins to lose his mind.
I'm going to be straight up serious. Why does the mac and cheese taste a lot like ranch? The mac and cheese tastes more of like honey mustard, which is really weird. And if you look, bingo.
Also a video that fueled trolls and continued the negative influence on Daniel. And yes, this definitely precipitates the homelessness arcs. But the first true homeless arc began in early 2022 with Daniel running away from that group home. Now, why did he run away? Maybe because he hated them? I don't know. People think. Larsonian experts believe that he was heavily influenced by trolls and potentially his managers to run away from the group home, because when he started his music career shortly after leaving the group home with this epic song called Roaring Thunder, which I do genuinely love, Daniel is stated as saying his caretakers were holding him back, assuming that they didn't necessarily want him to leave. So yeah, man. During the first homeless arc, a lot of shit happened. He aged significantly due to exposure from the elements. For reasons unknown, he refused to use public showers, like places you can just go shower, truck stops, gyms, hotels, motels, whatever. The constant state of dirt and filth contributed heavily to Daniel's decline in his overall health. He experienced trench foot, severe trench foot, which is like not a thing that people really experience nowadays because it's not the World War I with the trenches and stuff. He was even refused from places due to the smell of his disgusting trench foot. And in spite of the trench foot, Daniel opted to run a full marathon, also being incredibly malnourished from having a lack of access to food. The trench foot, he finished second to last. So yeah, makes sense. There are a multitude of incidents that fall within this arc that are dark and disturbing. For example, the Panera Bread incident.
Go ahead and fucking record me, bitch!
Daniel was being followed by trolls across different restaurants and stores and eventually would end up at a Panera Bread where the manager wanted him to leave. He refused to leave and he was confronted. He started to curse, throw tables, punch himself. Daniel was not arrested, but he was permanently banned from Panera Bread.
I will fucking murder you! I will fucking murder you, bitch!
Then we've got the Olive Garden incident. Try to guess what the Olive Garden incident is, guys.
You guys were back in the back printing off my nudes off of a website. I'm performing a citizen's arrest, so the FBI is outside.
Well, Daniel was made to believe by trolls that he was meeting Grace VanderWaal and her mother at an Olive Garden, and he refused to order any food until his guests arrived.
I am dating another celebrity, okay? They have a management, they have a security team. They are already here.
Trolls would spam call the restaurant. That led him to believe that the wait staff and kitchen staff were trolls. It made him incredibly paranoid.
We have reason to believe that the documents that the manager was printing off is nude photos of me from a online troll website.
And it ended up with Daniel Larson claiming that the FBI was outside to arrest him and he pulled the fire alarm.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then I got word that they leaked my location, the managers.
Now we have the broken phone incident in which Daniel broke his phone talking to his mentor, Bob, over the phone. We don't know if it was actually Bob or if it was a troll impersonating him.
I just had to spend $300 on this tablet that I currently have. So my bank account is only at $15.
This then caused Daniel to buy a $300 tablet only to drop it shortly after purchasing it and breaking it. We've got video of that.
Like I said, I'm currently using a tablet that doesn't have a phone. I basically got angry. I was in a conversation with my mentor and we were and now this broke. Fuck.
By the way, just for clarity, this is not in chronological order. We're just talking about specific arcs, and we're going to come to the end. All these events, it doesn't really matter the timeline, and that's generally how people experience Daniel Larson lore, is just kind of random bits. Like, is this currently current? I don't know. Is this current? I don't know what's going on. A lot of the shit I didn't happen. But for example, the Olive Garden incident was December 10th, 2023, and the Panera Bread incident was also in 2023, where his homelessness arc began in 2022. So I don't really think the chronological order of things matters that much. The arcs are more important. So the first act of Daniel's homelessness arc would end in July of 2022. Shortly after it began, he went to the Developmental Disabilities Resource Center and was placed into housing, which is awesome. That's pretty cool. But from this experience that was documented, we can learn a lot about Daniel and the intention of his viewers from watching what happened during his first little stint of homelessness, his first act. It is clear, looking back, that Daniel is absolutely in need of a more stable group, a family, if you will, to prevent him from running away and falling victim to these people who are with him online constantly. He really could have benefited from not having any sort of internet access or phones or anything like that. Just a plow and a hoe in a big old field that needs sowing. In my opinion, that's where Daniel should have been. Out sowing the fields. Would have been a good life for him. The first act of this homelessness arc also set in stone that Daniel's fans' intentions are just malicious and they're trolls and they want him to get in trouble for clout. His management are not real. Some people did care about him, maybe, but people like to watch Daniel damage his mental and physical health for views, online entertainment, I guess. Shortly after the end of the first act of his homelessness arc, the second act would begin. A couple months later, he entered the second homeless act of the homeless arc. So why did he leave the provided housing? Well, his address was leaked and trolls began to spam order pizzas to the address.
So people just randomly order stuff and send stuff to the house.
Listen to me. It's because I'm so popular that I get spotted in this own fucking neighborhood.
And this caused Daniel a great deal of stress, and it made him punch holes in the wall. It caused him to be on edge. He thought people were, coming to kill him and shit.
Listen to me. Stop interrupting me. Listen to me. You straight up. Listen to me. You straight up.
Eventually, the damage done to the walls would lead to him getting evicted yet again and being charged with a $1,000 fine.
The situation blew up out of control, and now because of the people showing up on property, phone numbers being leaked, the provider, Miss P, has now came out and told the police that she is in fear for her life and is in fear of my popularity. And she has now come forward and said that. And so the police did write me a citation for $1,000.
An incident belonging to the second act of the Daniel Larson homeless arc is the December 10th incident. December 10th, 2022. Daniel was staying in a motel, posting that he was breaking motel property. Trolls were also spam calling the motel, causing him even more stress. He said, "I broke a car window. I just broke my microwave. Not good. Very bad." Then Daniel would get into Bob's car and assault him on TikTok live while having a meltdown.
Get the hell out of my car! God damn! Get out of my car! No!
And this event is believed by some Larsonians to be the most significant event of 2022. The meltdown caused a genuine tear in his community, and that's because a lot of people were just like, dude, you can't just beat people. He physically abused a guy named Bob, and people were like, he needs help. Which after all the PDF file stuff coming out, I don't really understand how you couldn't just like, say, okay, this guy's like, this is not good. Like the FBI needs to know immediately about this. As any great schism does, there's two sides. You had people who were like, this gotta stop. He just assaulted Bob. This is terrible. On the other hand, the trolls in the community relished in the severity of this epic meltdown caught on TikTok Live, and his TikTok account was subsequently banned for beating the shit out of Bob. How about you stop hitting him? Daniel liked that and said, listen, I fucked up. I should have never touched Bob, but the truth is, we need help. Who's we? No, we don't need help, Daniel. You need help. Why are you abusing the one and only person who actually cares for you? It's about time you take accountability for your actions. Daniel embarked on a sub-arc within Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the homelessness arc. It's called the Travel Arc. This arc is Daniel Larson traveling across 6 different states because of his fans being kind enough to buy him plane, bus, and train tickets. A notable stop in this excursion would be the time that Daniel went to Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll have the date for that up. Pretty crazy stuff, right? He hid inside of a casino bathroom, was eventually evicted by casino security.
No, you not.
Yo, get the fuck up off the toilet.
No, you fucking won't, bitch.
And he would post videos of himself and be seen around Las Vegas hurting himself due to the massive stress of the situation. I just can't imagine being him and just being like, you know, manipulated on all these different sides by all these evil trolls.
I don't think so.
Don't grab me like that. Don't fucking grab me like that.
He had a big Chungus meltdown, and this caused him to go offline for about a week, in which there were sightings of Daniel. Current sightings of Daniel, multiple videos, pictures of him roaming the streets of Las Vegas. Eventually, he would return to TikTok, though, and post a video claiming that he had been assaulted by fans, which resulted in a fractured skull. We don't know if that's true. A lot of the things that Daniel Larson says are just not true, and they're fake, and they're not real, and his reality is not a real reality.
I was inside a casino. They offered to buy me some food, which they ended up doing. And shortly later, when they were offering to buy me a hotel room at one of the casinos, as we were walking to the casino, one of the guys came up behind me, punched me, threw me on the ground, and then basically took my phone and ran off running.
The Vegas part of the travel arc lasted all the way until March 17th, 2023. He got enough Cash App donations to travel to Phoenix, Arizona, the beautiful mecca of the southern United States. I don't really know. But shortly before leaving Las Vegas, there was a firework incident in which he made multiple videos implying that he's going to buy fireworks and light them off inside of a nearby casino.
Okay, I'm going to go into a casino with a firework, and then I can see how real firing works.
Which is like not something you can do, really. It's not like you can't just light off small explosives inside of a building. It's not really that cool. During the travel arc, Daniel would also go to New York and meet up with fellow TikTok personality Joshua Block.
New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Now you're in New York.
Can I get you?
AKA World of T-shirts.
So, the viral video of World of T-shirts jumping in the Hudson River nude. Nobody knows this, but because the water was so cold, his penis fell off.
This arc ended with Bob buying Daniel a ticket back to Denver, okay? And there was so much crazy content that came out of him meeting Joshua Block. It was like a gang war for a little while. They were friends, or I don't really know. I kept seeing that shit on TikTok, and people were screaming at each other, and I don't know, man. It was ridiculous. Shit is crazy. So now, Daniel's back in Denver, Colorado, but still in his homelessness arc, and things are difficult because Colorado is cold as and this is the first winter that Daniel has to survive out there alone. Okay, very, very, very bad. To survive, he resorted to sleeping in different homeless encampments across Denver. Daniel would also during this time state while talking to a fan that he climbed to the top of a mountain or walked to the top of a mountain near Denver and slept in the wilderness, which is wild.
I slept up on Lookout Mountain.
On Lookout Mountain? There?
I walked all the way up, yeah.
Wait, like on a bench or something?
And additionally, he said he keeps a sleeping bag in a storage unit that he has somewhere in Denver, which is awesome too, man.
Well, I got a storage unit down in Denver now.
Okay.
And I have a sleeping bag and stuff down there.
The second homeless arc came to an end recently, and so has just Daniel's presence on the internet entirely with the recent April 6th meltdown. I got a question to ask at this point. What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Are we just supposed to ignore this? Because, like, it is entertaining, right? People got a lot of shit going on in their lives. So they don't really care. They don't want to help out some random guy who's just out, you know, you see him once every month and you're like, oh, that's crazy. Is that currently current? Anyways, you know, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to try to get help? A lot of people have tried to help Daniel. I tried to help Daniel by contacting homeless coalitions in different areas, and they don't want to do it. They don't want to help him. It's too much work. It's too hard. You can't reach out to him. He's an unhinged man. What are you fucking supposed to do to try to avoid this shit from happening again? It's really confusing. The whole situation is just mind-boggling. Anyways, there's a lot more. There's a lot more, and this doesn't even scratch the surface of the ending of the Daniel Larson story, part 2, coming in a couple days.